The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. 17 different species sat in their chairs, waiting for the vote to end. The room was round and made of white stone. Blue lights hung from the ceiling. In the middle of the room stood a single human man. His name was Nathan Cole. He was 62 years old. His hair was gray and his face was tired. He had served as Earth's ambassador to the Council for 20 years. Today would be his last day in this room. Nathan looked up at the observation deck above. His wife Grace sat there, watching him. Beside her was their daughter Lucy. She was only 19, but she wore the uniform of Earth's diplomatic service. Her eyes were wet with tears she would not let fall. High Arbiter Vexten of the Kelthari stood at the main podium. He was tall and thin, with skin the color of dark blue. His eyes had no pupils. When he spoke, his voice was cold. "The vote is complete," Vexten said. "By a count of 14 to 3, humanity is found guilty of breaking the compact of shared progress." Nathan did not move. He had expected this result. The compact was an old law. It said that any new technology must be shared with all members of the Galactic Union. Humanity had created a new engine that could travel faster than anything before it. The Council wanted this technology. Humanity had said no. They had good reasons. The engine could be turned into a weapon. In the wrong hands, it could destroy planets. The humans wanted to make sure it was safe before sharing it. But the Council did not care about reasons. They only cared about the law. Earth and all human colonies are expelled from the Galactic Union, Vexten continued. All trade agreements are cancelled. All defense agreements are ended. Humanity will leave Union space within 30 standard days. Senator Crixel of the Vorn laughed. He was a large creature, covered in green scales. His teeth were sharp and yellow. "Look at him," Crixel said to the other representatives. "The mighty human ambassador." "Not so mighty now." Nathan turned to look at the Vorn senator. He remembered the day, 15 years ago, when Vorn ships were burning in space. The Ricks had attacked them without warning. The Vorn had no defense. They had called for help, and only humanity had answered. Nathan's own son had died in that battle. He had been 24 years old. His ship was destroyed, saving a Vorn colony of 2 million people. Now Crixel laughed at him. Nathan said nothing. There was nothing to say. "Do you have any response?" Vexten asked. "Any appeal? Any request for mercy?" Nathan looked around the room. He saw the representatives of species that humanity had helped for 300 years. The Morthani, whose crops grew because of human technology. The Nisan, whose children were educated in human schools. The Tovari, whose sick were healed in human hospitals. All of them had voted against humanity. All except 3 small species that everyone ignored. "No," Nathan said. His voice was calm and clear. "We accept this judgment. We will be gone within 30 days." This surprised them. The representatives looked at each other. They had expected the human to beg. They had expected tears and promises. They had expected a show. Instead, Nathan simply gathered his papers and walked toward the door. "Wait," Vexten called out. "That is all? You have nothing else to say?" Nathan stopped at the door. He turned back one last time. "What would you like me to say?" he asked. "You have made your choice. Now you will live with it." He walked out. Grace and Lucy met him in the hallway outside. Grace wrapped her arms around her husband and held him tight. Lucy stood beside them, her hands shaking. 20 years, Grace whispered. 20 years of your life you gave them. I know. And this is how they repay us. I know. Lucy spoke up. Her voice was hard with anger. "What happens now, Father? Do we fight? Do we refuse to leave?" Nathan looked at his daughter. She was so young. She still believed that fairness mattered. She still thought that if you did good things, good things would happen to you. No, Nathan said. We leave, quietly, without anger. But why? Lucy demanded. They are wrong. We did nothing wrong. Nathan put his hand on her shoulder. Because sometimes the best answer to cruelty is silence. Let them have their victory. Let them celebrate. And then let them discover what it means to stand alone. They walked together through the long corridors of the council station. Other species watched them pass. Some looked happy. Some looked nervous. A few looked ashamed. Nathan noticed a young Kalthari officer standing by a window. The officer's name was Tolrek. He had served alongside humans in the border wars. He had seen human soldiers die to protect Kalthari colonies. Tolrek met Nathan's eyes. He did not smile or wave. He simply lowered his head in a small bow of respect. It was the only sign of kindness Nathan saw that day. When they reached the docking bay, a human ship was waiting for them. The ESS Hope. It would carry them back to Earth. Commander Daniel Hayes met them at the entrance. He was a tall man with dark skin and serious eyes. He saluted Nathan. Ambassador, the ship is ready. Thank you, Commander. How long until we reach Earth? 3 days at standard speed. Nathan nodded. He looked back at the council station one last time. He had walked these halls for 20 years. He had made friends here, or so he thought. He had believed in the dream of different species living together in peace. Now, the dream was dead. Let's go home, Nathan said. The ship departed without ceremony. No one from the council came to say goodbye. No messages of thanks were sent. 300 years of service, and humanity left as if they had never been there at all. On the observation deck, Grace stood beside her husband and watched the stars move past. Do you think they will regret this? She asked. Nathan was quiet for a long time. He thought about all the things humanity had built for the Union. The defense networks, the hospital stations, the food production systems, the communication arrays, all of it designed by human minds, all of it maintained by human hands. Yes, Nathan said finally. They will regret it. And by the time they do, it will be too late. Grace leaned her head against his shoulder. Is that what you want? For them to suffer? No. Nathan's voice was sad. I just want them to understand. We were never their servants. We were their partners. And partners are meant to be treated with respect. In her cabin below, Lucy sat alone. She held a picture of her brother, the uncle she had never known. He had died saving Vorn lives. The same Vorn who had laughed at her father today. She made a promise to herself that night. She would remember this day forever. And she would make sure humanity never forgot what it felt like to be thrown away. The stars were cold and distant as the ESS Hope carried the last human ambassador away from the Galactic Council. Behind them, the Union continued its business as if nothing had changed. But everything had changed, and they would learn that lesson soon enough. The evacuation began the next morning. Across the galaxy, on 700 stations and outposts, human workers received the same message. Pack your things. Disconnect the systems. Come home. Commander Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of his ship, the ESS Redemption. Through the window, he could see Station Theta 7. It was a massive structure, home to 30,000 humans and 50,000 aliens of different species. For 40 years, humans had worked here. They had built half the station. They had designed its life support. They had created its defense shields. Now they were taking it all back. Commander, said Lieutenant Patricia Quinn from her station, the Morthani delegation is asking to speak with you. Daniel did not turn around. What do they want? Their water system has stopped working. They want our engineers to fix it. Daniel almost laughed. The Morthani had given a long speech at the council about how humanity was a danger to peace. Their representative had called humans greedy and selfish. He had said the galaxy would be better without them. Now their water system was broken. Tell them to contact the council for help, Daniel said. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Sir, without that water system, their entire food supply will die. Millions of Marthani will starve. I understand. Should I tell them anything else? Daniel finally turned to look at her. Patricia was young, only 25. She had grown up believing that humans should help everyone, no matter what. It was a good belief. Daniel had believed it too, once. Tell them we are sorry, Daniel said. Tell them the water system was designed and built by human engineers. Tell them that since humanity is no longer welcome in the Union, we cannot provide support for our technology. And tell them to have a nice day. Patricia stared at him. Then she turned back to her console and sent the message. Down in the cargo bay, Chief Engineer Owen Bradley supervised the removal of equipment. His team was working fast. They had already disconnected the secondary power grid, the communication network, and the medical scanner systems. A Kelthari officer came running toward him. Her name was Commander Velsha. Owen had known her for 6 years. They had worked together many times. Chief Bradley, she said, her blue face showing panic. You cannot take the power systems. The station will go dark. Owen kept working. The original Kelthari power system is still in place. We only upgraded it. But it is old. It cannot support the current population. Then reduce your population. Velsha grabbed his arm. Please, there are families here. Children. Owen stopped. He looked at her hand on his arm. He remembered all the times they had shared meals together. All the times she had asked about his wife and sons. All the times he had thought they were friends. Commander, he said quietly, do you remember the vote? She did not answer. I watched the recording, Owen continued. When Vexton asked for final comments before the vote, you stood up. Do you remember what you said? Velsha's hand dropped from his arm. You said that humanity had been useful, but that our time was over. You said the galaxy had outgrown us. You said we were like children who needed to leave our parents' home. Owen picked up his tools and turned back to his work. Well, the children are leaving now, and we are taking our toys with us. Good luck, Commander. I hope your parents can take care of themselves. On Earth, President Laura Mitchell spoke to the world. She was a small woman with white hair and sharp eyes. She had been president for 8 years. She had always believed in working with the other species. She had always pushed for cooperation and peace. Now she stood before cameras and spoke words she never thought she would say. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies. As you know, the Galactic Council has voted to expel humanity from the Union. We have been given 30 days to leave. Some of you are angry. Some of you want to fight. Some of you want to refuse to go. We will do none of these things. Instead, we will leave quietly and with dignity. We will take everything that belongs to us, nothing more and nothing less. And we will show the galaxy what kind of people we truly are. For 300 years, we have served the Union. We have built. We have protected. We have healed. We have taught. We have asked for nothing in return except respect and friendship. They have chosen to give us neither. So be it. We will go home. We will close our borders. We will look after our own people. And we will let the rest of the galaxy discover what life is like without human hands to hold them up. Do not hate them. Do not curse them. Do not wish them harm. Simply remember. Remember what we did for them. Remember how they repaid us. And remember that we are better than revenge. We are human. That has always been enough. The evacuation continued for 28 days. On Station Delta 3, Dr. Caroline Hughes packed her medical equipment. She had spent 12 years here, treating patients from 6 different species. She had saved thousands of lives. She had trained hundreds of local doctors. Her last patient was a young Meeson girl named something unpronounceable in human language. The girl had a rare blood disease. Caroline had been treating her for 2 years. Without continued treatment, she would die within months. "You are leaving," the girl's mother said. It was not a question. "Yes. Can you not stay?" For her? Caroline felt tears in her eyes. "I cannot. I am sorry." The mother was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke again. "My husband voted for the expulsion. He said humans were too powerful. He said we were safer without you." Caroline did not know what to say. "I told him he was wrong," the mother continued. "I told him that power is not the same as danger. I told him that humans had only ever used their power to help us." She took Caroline's hand. "He did not listen. And now my daughter will die." Caroline gave the mother all her medical notes. She explained the treatment in detail. She gave her the name of a Neeson doctor who might be able to continue the care. But they both knew it was not enough. The treatment required human medicine, and there would be no more human medicine in Union space. On the last day, Nathan Cole stood in the empty human embassy on the council station. The furniture was gone. The art was gone. The flags and pictures and memories were gone. Only Nathan remained. He walked through the empty rooms one final time. He remembered the parties they had hosted here, the treaties they had signed, the friendships they had built, or thought they had built. Grace found him standing by the window, looking out at the stars. "The ship is ready," she said. "It is time to go." Nathan nodded, but he did not move. "Do you think they will miss us?" he asked. Grace came to stand beside him. "Yes, but not for the reasons they should. They will miss what we did for them. They will not miss who we were. Is there a difference?" "There should be." Nathan took one last look at the council station. Then he turned and walked away. The last human ship departed exactly 30 days after the vote. As it left, a single message was broadcast on all frequencies. It was Nathan Cole's final words as ambassador. "To the Galactic Council and all citizens of the Union, humanity departs today. We leave no anger behind. We leave no hatred. We leave only a question. What will you do now? We built your stations. We protected your borders. We fed your hungry. We healed your sick. We taught your children. Now you must do these things for yourselves. We hope you can. We fear you cannot. But either way, it is no longer our problem. Goodbye." The message ended. The ship jumped to faster than light speed, and humanity was gone. Behind them, the galaxy continued to turn. The council continued to meet. The alien species continued their lives as if nothing had changed. But in 1,000 small ways, things were already beginning to break, and no one was paying attention. 6 months passed. At first, the council celebrated. High Arbiter Vexton gave speeches about a new era of peace. Senator Crixo of the Vorn boasted that the galaxy was finally free from human influence. The Morthani held festivals in the streets. Then the problems began. The first crisis came from the Vex Collective. The Vex were an insect species. They had one queen who laid all the eggs for their entire race. Without the queen, there would be no new Vex. The species would slowly die out. The queen lived in a special chamber on their home world. The temperature in this chamber had to be exactly right. Too hot, and the eggs would not form. Too cold, and the queen would get sick. For 50 years, human engineers had maintained the climate system in this chamber. They had designed it. They had built it. They had come every 3 months to check it and make adjustments. Now the humans were gone, and no one else knew how to work the system. At first, the temperature changes were small. The Vex engineers tried to fix the problem. They read the human manuals. They followed the instructions. But the system was too complex. There were too many parts working together. Every time they fixed one thing, something else went wrong. After 4 months, the Queen became sick. The Vex ambassador came to the council in desperation. His name was Chitterl. His body shook as he spoke. "The Queen is dying," he said. "Without her, we will have no children. Within 3 generations, the Vex will be extinct." Vex then sat in his high chair, his face showing no emotion. "What would you have us do?" "Contact the humans. Ask them to help. We will pay anything. We will promise anything." A murmur went through the council chamber. Contact the humans? After everything that had happened? Senator Crixell of the Vorn laughed his ugly laugh. "You want to go crying back to the humans? After we threw them out? They will laugh at us." "Let them laugh," Chitterl said. "I do not care about my pride. I care about my people." But the council could not agree. Some wanted to ask for human help. Others said it would make them look weak. The debate went on for days. Then weeks stopped while they argued. The Vex Queen grew weaker. On a quiet colony world called New Virginia, retired engineer Samuel Bennett worked in his garden. He was 70 years old. He had spent 40 years building and fixing things across the galaxy. Now he just wanted to grow tomatoes and spend time with his wife Catherine. One morning, a message arrived on his computer. It had no return address. It contained technical drawings of the Vex climate system and a simple question: "Can you help?" Samuel studied the drawings for a long time. He knew this system. He had helped design it 30 years ago. He could see exactly what was wrong and how to fix it. Catherine came and looked over his shoulder. "Is that what I think it is?" She asked. "Yes." The Vex voted to throw us out. They celebrated in the streets when the decision was announced. I know. Their ambassador gave a speech saying humans were a disease that needed to be cut from the body of the galaxy. I remember. Catherine was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "What are you going to do?" Samuel looked at the message for a long time. He thought about all the years he had spent working with other species. He thought about the friends he had made. He thought about the Vex workers he had trained, young people who had looked up to him and called him teacher. Then he thought about the day the vote happened. He thought about watching the news as the council celebrated. He thought about the way his neighbors had cried, knowing that all their work meant nothing. He typed a single word in reply. No. Then he deleted the message and went back to his garden. The Vex Queen died 3 weeks later. The collective entered what they called the long quiet. Without new children being born, their population would slowly shrink. Scientists said they might survive for 200 years, maybe 300. But eventually, the Vex would be gone. It was only the beginning. The Morthani agricultural collapse came next. The Morthani were a large species with purple skin and 4 arms. Their home world was dry and dusty. Nothing grew there naturally. All their food came from farms that used special water purification systems. Human engineers had designed these systems 60 years ago. Human workers had maintained them ever since. When the humans left, they took their knowledge with them. At first, the Morthani did not worry. They had the systems. They had the manuals. How hard could it be to keep them running? Very hard. It turned out that the water systems used a special filter that needed to be replaced every 6 months. The Morthani did not have the technology to make these filters. Only humans could make them. They tried to order more filters from human space, but the borders were closed. They tried to make their own filters, but the materials broke down within days. They tried to redesign the whole system, but they did not have enough time. The crops began to die. Food prices went up. Then they went up more. Poor families could not afford to eat. Riots broke out in the cities. The government sent soldiers to keep order, but there were too many hungry people and not enough food. Within a year, famine had spread across 4 Morthani colony worlds. Millions were starving. The Morthani asked the Council for help. But the Kelthari had their own problems now. The defense network was failing. For 200 years, humanity had protected the borders of the Union. Human ships patrolled the outer reaches. Human soldiers stood guard against outside threats. Human engineers maintained the stations and weapons that kept everyone safe. The biggest threat had always been the Ricks. The Ricks were a warrior species from the outer spiral of the galaxy. They had tried to conquer Union space many times. Each time, human forces had pushed them back. The Ricks had learned to fear human ships. They had learned to stay away, but now the humans were gone. The Ricks noticed immediately. Their scouts crossed the border and found no one watching. Their spies reported that the defense stations were unmanned. Their generals looked at maps and saw opportunity. The first attack came 6 months after humanity left. A Ricks fleet of 200 ships struck the Vorn outer colonies. The Vorn defense forces tried to fight back. They had been trained by human officers. They used human tactics. They followed human plans, but without human leadership, nothing worked right. Commands were confused. Ships flew into each other. Weapons fired at the wrong targets thought the battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, 4 Vorn colonies had fallen. 2 million Vorn were dead or captured. Senator Crixel, who had laughed at humanity in the council chamber, was among the dead. His ship was destroyed in the first minutes of the fight. They never even found his body. High Arbiter Vexton called an emergency session of the council. The chamber was half empty now. The Vex had withdrawn after their queen's death. The Morthani were too busy fighting their famine. Several smaller species had simply stopped coming. The faces of those who remained showed fear. The Ricks are advancing, Vexton announced. Our defenses cannot stop them. At their current speed, they will reach the core worlds within 1 year. Senator Tolvac of the Neeson stood up. He was old and thin, with gray fur and tired eyes. He had been one of the 3 who voted against human expulsion. We must contact the humans, he said. Only they can stop the Ricks. We all know this is true. Vexton's blue face showed no emotion. The humans will not help us. We made that very clear when we expelled them. Then we will beg, Tolvac said. We will offer them whatever they want. We will give them our pride, our wealth, our worlds. Whatever it takes. And if they say no? Tolvac looked around the chamber. At the empty seats. At the frightened faces. At the ruin of everything they had built. Then we die, he said simply. And we will have no one to blame but ourselves. The chamber was silent. Outside, somewhere in the darkness of space, the Ricks fleets were moving closer, and there was no one left to stand in their way. Admiral Christina Park stood alone on the observation deck of her ship, the ESS Vanguard. The stars moved slowly past the window. Behind her, screens showed maps of the galaxy covered in red marks. Each red mark was a world the Ricks had conquered. There were many red marks now. Christina was 53 years old. She had spent her whole life in the human fleet. She had fought pirates and protected colonies. She had lost friends and won battles. But she had never seen anything like this. The Union was falling apart. Every day brought new reports of destruction. The Vorn had lost half their Tory. The Neeson colonies were under attack. Even the Kelthari homeworld was in danger. Lieutenant Jerome Carter entered the deck. He was young, only 28, but he was smart, and Christina trusted him. Admiral, he said, we have received another message from the Council. Christina did not turn around. How many is that now? 14 requests this month. But this one is different. She looked at him. Different how? Jerome held out a data tablet. I Arbiter Vexton is offering unconditional surrender. For a moment, Christina did not understand. Surrender? To us? He is willing to give humanity anything we want. Full membership in the Union, permanent seats on the Council, complete control over all military operations, everything. Christina took the tablet and read the message herself. The words were desperate, humble. The same leader who had expelled humanity with cold words and no regret was now begging for their help. She thought about her brother, Marcus. He had been a doctor on Station Theta 7. For 15 years, he had treated Kelthari patients. He had learned their language. He had attended their festivals. He had thought he was part of their community. When the expulsion came, his patients refused to say goodbye. Some had thrown things at him as he walked to the evacuation ship. A woman he had saved from cancer spit at his feet. Marcus had never fully recovered. He still woke up some nights, crying. What do you want to do, Admiral? Jerome asked. Christina looked at the tablet for a long time. Then she handed it back. Send it to President Mitchell. And contact Ambassador Cole. This decision is not mine to make. Nathan Cole received the message at his home on Earth. He lived in a small house in the mountains now. The air was clean, and the nights were quiet. Grace tended a garden in the back. Lucy visited when she could. Though her work kept her busy. It was evening when the message arrived. Nathan was sitting on his porch, watching the sun go down behind the mountains. The sky was orange and pink and gold. It was beautiful in a way that no alien world had ever been. Grace brought him the tablet. She had already read the message. Vexton wants to talk, she said. Nathan read the words slowly. He read about the Rick's advance. He read about the millions who had died. He read about the crumbling defenses and the starving colonies and the desperate fear. He read the words, please, and help, and we were wrong. Will you go? Grace asked. Nathan did not answer right away. He watched the last light of the sun disappear behind the mountains. The stars were starting to appear. I do not know, he said finally. They do not deserve your help. No, they do not. Grace sat down beside him. Her hair had gone completely white now, but her eyes were still sharp. She had been his partner for 40 years. She knew him better than he knew himself. But you are thinking about it, she said. I am thinking about the people who will die if we do nothing. People who wanted us gone. People who celebrated when we left. Yes, Grace was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, do you remember the day Marcus came home from Station Theta 7? Nathan remembered. He would never forget. He sat in our kitchen and cried for 3 hours. Grace continued. He said he had given those people the best years of his life, and they had thrown him away like garbage. He asked me why he had ever bothered helping anyone. I remember. What did you tell him? Nathan closed his eyes. The memory was painful. I told him that we do not help people because they deserve it. We help people because that is who we are. Grace took his hand. And do you still believe that? Nathan looked at his wife. He thought about all the years they had spent among the stars. All the good they had done. All the thanks they had never received. I do not know anymore, he admitted. I want to believe it. But it is hard. Yes, Grace agreed. It is very hard. The next morning, Nathan called his daughter. Lucy was an ambassador now, working in the Human Foreign Office. She had inherited her father's talent for diplomacy, but not his patience. She was harder than he had been at her age. The expulsion had changed her. Father, she said when she saw his face on the screen. I assume you have read the message. I have. And? Nathan hesitated. I am not sure. What do you think we should do? Lucy's face was calm, but her eyes were cold. I think we should let them burn. They made their choice. Let them live with it. Millions will die. Millions of people who wanted us gone. Nathan was quiet for a moment. He had expected this answer. He understood it. Part of him even agreed with it. But another part of him remembered the young Kalthari officer, Tolrek, who had bowed to him on the day of the vote. Not all of them had wanted humanity gone. Not all of them had celebrated. If we let them die, Nathan said slowly, what does that make us? Wise, Lucy answered. It makes us wise. They showed us who they were. We should believe them. And if they have changed? Lucy laughed. It was not a happy sound. People do not change, Father. They just become more of what they always were. The council feared us. They resented us. They could not stand that they needed us. That is why they threw us out. And if we go back now, they will fear us even more. They will resent us even more. Nothing will be different. Nathan knew she might be right. But he also knew something else. Your uncle is still having nightmares, he said. Every night, he dreams about Station Theta 7. Every morning, he wakes up wondering if he wasted his life. Lucy's expression softened slightly. I know. If we do nothing, millions of innocent people will die. People who never voted. People who never celebrated. Children who were not even born when the council made its decision. Nathan paused. How will we sleep then? Lucy did not answer. I'm not saying we should forgive them, Nathan continued. I am not saying we should forget. I am just saying that maybe, just maybe, we are better than revenge. That is a beautiful thought, Father. Father, but the galaxy is not a beautiful place. No, Nathan agreed. It is not. But it could be. Someday. If we choose to make it so. Lucy looked at him for a long time. Finally, she sighed. If you go back to the council, I'm going with you. I was hoping you would say that. Not because I forgive them. I will never forgive them. But because someone needs to be there to protect you. And because someone needs to make sure they understand that this time will be different. Nathan smiled. It was the first real smile he had felt in a long time. Yes, he said. This time will be very different indeed. 1 week later, Nathan Cole sent a message to High Arbiter Vexthin. It was short and simple. We will come. We will listen. We promise nothing else. Prepare for our arrival. Across the galaxy, a small light of hope appeared in the darkness. But it was only a small light. And the darkness was very deep indeed. The human fleet arrived at the Nexus 3 months later. 50 ships came out of faster-than-light travel and took position around the council station. They were not enough to win the war against the Ricks, but they were enough to send a message. Humanity had returned. Admiral Christina Park stood on the bridge of the ESS Vanguard, watching the station through the window. It looked smaller than she remembered. Or maybe she had grown larger. Admiral, said Lieutenant Jerome Carter, the council is ready to receive the ambassador. Christina nodded. Tell Ambassador Cole his shuttle is cleared for departure. In the shuttle bay below, Nathan Cole adjusted his uniform. Beside him stood his daughter Lucy, now a full ambassador in her own right. She wore the same diplomatic uniform as her father, but her eyes were harder. Her face showed no emotion at all. Grace had stayed on Earth. She was too old for this kind of travel, she said. But Nathan knew the truth. She could not bear to see the council again. Some wounds never healed. Are you ready? Nathan asked his daughter. Lucy looked at him. I have been ready for 3 years. The shuttle departed the Vanguard and flew toward the station. Nathan watched the familiar shape grow larger in the window. The last time he had left this place, he had thought he would never return. Life was strange that way. The council chamber had changed. Half the seats were empty now. The Vex had no representative. Their people were too busy trying to survive. The Vorn had lost so many worlds that their government had split into fighting groups. The Morthani were too weak from hunger to send anyone. Only 7 species remained. 7 out of 17. And even those 7 looked beaten and tired, High Arbiter Vexton stood at the central platform. He looked different than Nathan remembered. Older. Smaller. The pride that had filled him on the day of the vote was gone. In its place was something that might have been shame. "Ambassador Cole," Vexton said. His voice was quiet. "You came." Nathan walked to the center of the room. Lucy walked beside him, slightly behind. Her eyes moved constantly, watching everything. "I came to listen," Nathan said. "Nothing more." Vexton nodded slowly. "Then listen to this. The Ricks have taken 43 worlds. 12 million people are dead or enslaved. Our defenses are broken. Our supplies are running out. Our people are losing hope." He paused. His blue face showed pain. 3 years ago, I stood in this chamber and announced your expulsion. I said the galaxy no longer needed humanity. I said we would be stronger without you. His voice cracked. I was wrong. I was arrogant and blind and wrong. Nathan said nothing. He waited. "We have nothing left to offer you," Vexton continued. "We cannot pay you. We cannot threaten you. We can only ask from one people to another for mercy." The word hung in the air. Mercy. Such a human concept. The other species had never really understood it. Nathan turned to look at his daughter. Lucy's face was like stone, but her eyes were wet. "Arbiter," Nathan said, turning back to Vexton. "Do you know why humanity is here?" "To save us." "I hope." "No." Nathan shook his head. "We are not here to save you. We are here because that is who we are." He stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. "For 300 years, humanity served this union. We built your stations. We protected your borders. We fed your hungry. We healed your sick. We asked for nothing in return except respect and friendship. And when you decided we were no longer useful, you threw us away." Vexton lowered his head. "I know. You did not throw away servants, Arbiter. You threw away partners, friends, family." Nathan's voice hardened. "And now you ask us to come back. You ask us to save you. You ask us to forget everything that happened and be your protectors again." "Yes," Vexton whispered. "That is exactly what I ask." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. The chamber was completely silent. Every eye was on him. Finally, he spoke. "Humanity will help you. We will fight the Ricks. We will rebuild your defenses. We will save your people." A wave of relief passed through the chamber. Some representatives actually cried. "But," Nathan continued, and the room went quiet again, "we will not do this because you deserve it. We will not do this because you have earned it. We will do this because helping those in need is what humans do. It is who we have always been, even when no one thanked us for it." He stepped closer to Vexton. "However, understand this. We will never again be your servants. We will never again give everything and ask for nothing. If we rebuild your worlds and save your people, you will remember who did it. And the next time this council gathers to decide humanity's fate, you will remember what happened when you chose to stand alone." Vexton met Nathan's eyes. For the first time in 3 years, the High Arbiter showed something like respect. "We will remember," he said. "I swear it." The reconstruction took decades. Human engineers returned to the stations they had abandoned. They rebuilt the defense networks, but this time they trained local workers properly. They repaired the agricultural systems, but this time they shared all the knowledge. They restored the hospitals, but this time they made sure others could maintain them. And everywhere they went, they were watched. The other species saw humans working alongside them. They saw humans teaching them. They saw humans dying to protect them. Slowly, attitudes began to change. Admiral Christina Park led the fleet against the Ricks. The war was long and bloody. Many good people died on both sides. But in the end, the Ricks were pushed back. Their fleets were destroyed. Their threat was ended. Christina did not celebrate. She simply sent a message to Earth. It is done. Then she retired and went home. Nathan Cole served as ambassador for another 10 years. He built new agreements and new friendships. He made sure humanity's voice was always heard in the council chamber. He pushed for changes that would prevent anything like the expulsion from happening again. When he finally retired, he was the most respected human in the galaxy. Other species told stories about him. They said he was the man who could have let them die, but chose to save them instead. Nathan did not care about the stories. He just wanted to go home to Grace and watch the sunset over the mountains. Lucy Cole became the permanent human representative to the council. She was hard but fair. She never forgot what had happened, but she learned to look forward instead of backward. Years later, she would tell her children the story of humanity's exile and return. "We did not leave to punish them," she would say. "We left because they asked us to. And we came back because they could not survive without us." That is the difference between them and us. They need someone to blame when things go wrong. We just need something to build. Her children would ask her if she hated the other species for what they did. "Hate is a waste of time," Lucy would answer. "It takes energy that could be used for better things." The council was wrong, and they paid for their mistake. Now they know better, and that is enough. On the 10th anniversary of humanity's return, a monument was built at the Nexus. It showed a human hand reaching out to help an alien who was falling. Below the statue were simple words in every known language. "We help because that is who we are." Some of the older species complained about the monument. They said it was too proud. They said it made humans look too important. But the younger generations understood. They had grown up hearing stories about the time before the humans left. They had heard about the suffering and the death and the fear. They knew what the galaxy looked like without human hands to hold it together, and they were determined to never let it happen again. The humans had departed silently. They had returned the same way, without demands for apology, without fanfare, without anger, just with the quiet certainty that the galaxy would always need them, whether it wanted to admit it or not. And in the end, that was enough. It had always been enough.